I want to spend some time here to kind of talk about optimism for a second. You know, that's the theme. All right, we got all of our bitching out the last 2 days, right? The complaining, but also at the same time, we have to be very fair. I think the word of the week is objective. I think that's what we've been dealing with this whole week. It's like when we are objective, people get frustrated. But I think all of what we talked about this week has been deserved. Now, let's bring up the graphic, because this graphic does put things into perspective for not just Lions fans, but fans across the NFL, for teams that kind of do fall in a hole a little bit. I want to read the stat because it's a lot here. So allow me to kind of break this down for everybody. So this is a graphic released by the NFL. It says, no need to panic. History shows that even a slow start can be overcome in the NFL. So to the left, you have a graphic here. Excuse me. It says since 1990, percentage of teams to make the playoffs after starting 2-0, 63.8%. Okay. 1-1 below it, it's a 41.8% chance. And then you see the numbers there for the teams that are 1-1. 200 have made the playoffs out of 479. And then, of course, if you're 2-0, 171 out of 268 have made the playoffs. And this is since 1990. Now, this is the other graphic. Since 1990, percentage of teams to win the division after starting 2-0. 2-0, it's 41% chance. 110 teams out of 268 have won their division still, obviously, if you have the lead. 1-1 is a 24% chance. 115 to 479. An 0-2 team has made the playoffs in 7 of the past 10 seasons. Last season, 8 of the 14 playoff teams started the season either 1-1 or 0-2, including Cincinnati, who started 0-2 and won the AFC North. Each of the 6 teams to begin the season 2-0 made the playoffs. So basically what this means is, and I want to address this comment, because Yusuf, he says, so the goal went from winning a playoff game to just making the playoffs. No, making the playoffs allows you the opportunity to win a playoff game, Yusuf. What? No, the goal is to win your division. Let's be real here. That's the important goal. And shown by these two statistics here, making the playoffs if you're 1-1 is a 41% chance, essentially. Since 1990, winning your division is a 24% chance. But when you look at that bottom part of it, Lucas, when you showed, an 0-2 team has made the playoffs in 7 of the past 10 seasons, meaning the Lions that are 1-1, they're still not out of it. And a lot of it depends on your division. Like, they put the Cincinnati Bengals in there, but people forget, like, Lamar Jackson was injured, Kenny Pickett stinks, and then Deshaun Watson was suspended. So, like, that's
division?
What?
A weak division like the NFC North is?
Yes, the year they made it. Yes. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, you have Jacoby Brissett. I think Kirk's better than him. Jordan Love, Kenny Pickett. At this point, I'll take probably Jordan Love. And then Chicago with Justin Fields over who was starting besides Lamar Jackson. Who's the backup there?
Tyler Huntley.
Like,
he
I
wins
guess.
Games there for him, though. Can't say that about Fields.
What'd you say?
I said at least he wins games there for him. he wins.
Yes, he does.
He's a winner for
him.
It's a winner.
And I'm glad
Kenny Pickett, right?
I'm glad you brought that up, because the Bengals, and obviously they have a special team there, but regardless, the Lions are not out of it. I think this is the part of this graphic. Like, the fact that 0-2 teams have made the playoffs 7 of the past 10 seasons, at least one 0-2 team, tells me, like, even the teams now that are 0-2, the Bengals are 0-2. There's a lot of teams that you look at the thing, like, Chargers are 0-2. The Lions are 1-1. So the season's not over. The schedule actually isn't that bad moving forward, and I think they have a plenty of opportunity to still crawl back and win that division. Luckily, the Packers lost. So
yes,
that's the big thing.
Yes, and the goal for the Lions to win the division is still alive and well, and to win a playoff game, because if they win the division, they get a home playoff game. So that is something that the Lions certainly can't lose. But I will say this moving forward, that 1-1, it's fine. It's all good. If somehow what that also means to me is that this Sunday against Atlanta is a must win. I don't want to start 1-2 with your only 2 losses being at home, and then faced with the prospect of going to Lambeau, a Packers team that I think is better than maybe people gave them a lot of credit for. And also, if I'm the Detroit Lions, you know what one of your objectives should be for the rest of the year? Win every single goddamn home game on your schedule. Never lose another game this year at Ford Field, because despite all of that, despite that bad loss to the Seahawks last Sunday, the Lions are going to be favored in every single home game they play the rest of the year. I don't care that Atlanta looks a little bit better. You have to beat them. You got your divisional games at home. You've got the Carolina Panthers, who look worse than we ever thought. You've got the Las Vegas Raiders, who nobody is really as scared of. And you got the Denver Broncos, who just started the season 0-2 again. You've got to win the rest of of your home games, because I'll tell you what. And I know I'm not trying to get too pessimistic right now because we're turning the page. We're moving on to Sunday. But those road games, a lot of them that were kind of assumed victories for the Lions are looking kind of a little bit more precarious. I would say at Green Bay, there's no guarantee that the Lions are going to win that one. Even at Tampa Bay, that might be a little bit tougher than people think, because Tampa Bay, have you seen their linebackers and their receivers?
You're right, Glenn.
Absolutely.
I wasn't laughing like at you. You're right.
Absolutely.
The fact that we even are talking about that's crazy.
And the thing is, with the Detroit Lions, are we confident this version of the Detroit Lions with James Houston and C.J. Gardner-Johnson definitely out for that game? Are we confident that they're going to go into Baltimore and win?
I think even without the injuries, you have to. That's Lamar Jackson, that's Mark Andrews, that's John Harbaugh, that's Baltimore. Like, that's one of the most consistent NFL teams in the last decade. So I think even if the team was healthy, you still got to be nervous. I still have hope that they can win. I think it's way too early to ride it out, just because the Lions, they got smacked with their injury bug early. They got smacked in the mouth early. And I'd rather have that than week 8 going into Baltimore when we have Jameson Williams back, when we have Emmanuel Mosley back, hopefully. I mean, I understand the Lions just lost a couple key pieces, but they're also getting a couple key pieces back for those games on the road later in the season. So everything you said is spot on, Flannel. But I don't think it's nowhere. Yes, be nervous, but in no means panic about it. No means.
Yeah, and even this one, Kyle McKay says, guys, we lost one football game. How the fuck is the conversation that the Lions can crawl back and win their division?
No, it's not just about losing that game. It's the fact that they're also being hit with an injury bug pretty damn bad.
Yeah, it's like 6-7 dudes.
I mean, James Houston and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, they're not coming back for a very long time. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is probably not coming back for the whole season. Are we confident that David Montgomery is going to play this week? Are we confident Taylor Decker is going to play this week? Are we confident Emmanuel Mosley is going to play this week? Like, those are the issues. Are we confident that Vaitai is going to play this week? It's looking like we're definitely going to see some Matt Nelson, and nobody wants to see that in any shape or form whatsoever. So I'm just saying, with the injury bug hitting them at the beginning of the year, you've got to still tread water. You got to still win your home games. You got to beat Atlanta. You got to beat Carolina. If you lose at Green Bay, it would be disappointing, but it's looking to me like more of a possibility than it ever was. And the same with Tampa Bay. You've got to at least tread water right now. So that's why that loss, as much as I don't want to harp on it right now, was such a kick in the dick for all of us. It was the loss and the injuries.
Well, let me ask you guys this, and it's like a genuine question. Let's say Lions, they still have all the injuries that they have currently, but if they win and they beat Seattle on Sunday, do you still think we're all kind of like, this guy, like, freaking out about, okay, are we really going to beat the Packers? Like, at the same time, yes, we took all those injuries, but the Lions probably played their worst game in since like week 7 of last year, and they still only lost in overtime. So do you think we're still a little bit like over panicking about this whole situation?
Yes, and I think it's not ridiculous though that Lions fans are overreacting. I mean, look at what they had to deal with their entire lifetime, and now you have a season where it's one of the most hyped up seasons in most people's lifetime. And then now, a lot of injuries, you're 1-1, people start to panic. Like, I can't blame people for feeling that way, especially what they've had to witness for so long. So, the Lions fan base is a little different than other fan bases on what they had to endure. So maybe the reaction will be a little over the top, but in my opinion, I think it's deserved. Like, they're allowed to overreact. It's not that big of a deal. Now, are we all saying that the season's over? No. But what we're saying is, damn. The guy the big fish we just signed in free agency is out for the season potentially, right? Josh Pascal out for 4 games. Like Emmanuel Mosley, the guy you signed to be your steady number 2 corner, is not here yet. What the hell's going on? Like, there's just concern, which rightfully so. What the hell you expect? Yeah. Like, and by the way, I want to say this too. From the whole, like, the injury stuff, as much as I agree that the injuries are concerning, I'm not going to allow that to be an excuse for Aaron Glenn. I'm not. This defense has to show up. They showed it last year with less talent. Even without CJ, they still are better on paper than they are last year. No excuses. Yeah. No excuses. This defense should be fine, and I know people were talking about it, the depth that we all talked about before the season, the defensive line depth, the depth in the secondary. Okay, let's see it. Let's see it. So I don't want to have that conversation. I think they'll be all right. But of course it's concerning. Sam, you lose a couple of the key guys for a long time. James Houston, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. It
is 100% concerning. And because there's only 17 of these, I will go even a step further. If the Lions beat the Atlanta Falcons, even with all the injuries and all that, all is forgiven. I'm all back in again because the Falcons win would be a good win. It would show a lot of resilience against a Falcons team that is better than people think. Against a Falcons team that is elite at one thing, and that is running the football, which is something the Lions have done well so far at stopping. But still, have you seen the interior of that defensive line? I think they are vulnerable this week. So if they can win, if they can bounce back, I am all back in, especially considering the fact that some of the injuries you don't think will hurt them for too long, like Decker or Emmanuel Mosley or David Montgomery. They will be back at some point, or at least you think. And like I said yesterday, you still got Goff, you still have St. Brown, you still have Aiden Hutchinson, you still have Penei Sewell. If you lost one of those four, you might be thinking, oh crap, the season's over. But they are still there. The Lions will be fine, but they got to win this goddamn game.
No, Sam, you're spot on.
Yes.
They have to win this football game. Not that it's like this must win, but like it is key. I mean, you can't be 0-2 your first 2 home games. That's embarrassing. Like the turnout that I expect this week will be almost, I think it could challenge last week. We'll see. I mean, after a loss, it is a little deflating, but I think Ford Field's going to be electric. It'll be packed. I think winning this game will just mean a lot for the fans, the players. It's like, finally, we're 2-1. We're above 500. Now, I do want to say this too about the schedule. You could argue, and you might win that argument, that at least the first 2 games are the hardest 2 games of this entire schedule.